registered children's yoga teacher trainee. Each week we have a pose of the week to help folks remember our 45 key signature poses of the SHARE method. And by breaking it down with one single pose each week and having a review week and all weeks ending in a 2, week 2, 12, 22, 32, 42, and our final week 52. By doing that, makes it really easy to remember these poses. Then by the time you graduate, you have 45 poses. That is more poses than are in most yoga teacher trainings. Certainly more poses than was what was in my yoga teacher training. And that's an incredible repertoire to draw from, especially for children's yoga. So you can constantly keep it fresh, keep it fun, always doing something new. So today we're going to start with reading from our textbook series. This is a really special series because it's written by youth, and actually I'm going to read a passage that a 9-year-old in our program wrote. I'm so proud of her. Melita wrote this incredible passage at the age of 9 as a eulogy for her grandma who passed. And this is what we try to teach the children, not by quizzing them on it, but by teaching them through experience, that through the power of the pen, we can all experience immortality to a degree, and she was able to honor the life of her grandmother by writing about it, and we published it in this book series. This book series is available on Amazon, and it's a wonderful hostess gift if you're looking for one, and just a fun, beautiful coffee table type gift with beautiful photos. Our youth took these photos. It also has 30 recipes in it. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about this book. The book series is called Broadening Our Horizons, and the ShareLove.Fund students have written several books, part of this series. So you can search on Amazon, ShareLove.Fund, or you can search on Amazon, Broadening Our Horizons, and it's a series title, and there's lots of books published under it. It's a textbook. So Broadening Our Horizons is a textbook series, so it's meant for education. It's a textbook that is like no other because it's written by kids. It's written by kids at a 9th grade literacy level, and it's written for incarcerated women. So incarcerated women can get a vocational training degree using their time productively behind bars. So we have kids training adults who are justice involved. It's all about second chances at ShareLove.Fund, and it's a really, really awesome connection. Also reminds both our kids and the adults that we serve that anything is possible. It inspires the adults that we serve so much that they are learning from children and that children care about their situation. One of the things that people sometimes think in a custodial situation is sometimes they feel that they're there to waste, that it's sort of lock you up and throw away the key. The fact that really amazing, bright kids are writing course curriculum for them makes the women we serve want to do better, want to study hard, and get back to their own children and their own families. It's really a beautiful thing that we're doing at ShareLove.Fund. I strongly encourage you to get involved. You can teach for a cause like I am today. I'm volunteering my time to do this RCYT 200 training, and you too can earn your degree and also teach for a cause. And you can sign up at yoga@sharelove.fund. Again, that's yoga@sharelove.fund. My last bit of housekeeping announcements is that if you are watching this and you are not currently enrolled in our RCYT Yoga Alliance accredited degree, but you want to be on degree track, then hop aboard and you can sign up at ShareLove.Fund/train. Again, that's ShareLove.Fund/train. But don't worry about signing up now. Join for free today. Enjoy this class, and you can sign up when we are not all together, because this is really exciting. I want to share this. So I'm going to read what Melita, who's no longer 9, but she was 9 when she wrote this beautiful passage. So it is called, "You Better Woman Up and Put Some Lipstick On." So she's just adorable. You can see the titles in the center here. You better woman up and put some lipstick on. She was the youngest of 5 siblings. Here, I'm just gonna flip because I'm thinking, did we miss? Okay, I think it starts here. Okay, I see. Okay, it starts up here. Okay, so I'm just going to read, sorry, it's live and uncut. I'm just gonna read sort of the disclaimer part because then that will make sense, and then I'll go into Melita's writing. Okay, so 100% of the proceeds from the sale of this title, from the sale of this book, are paid to ShareLove.Fund, a 501c3 charity empowering youth and women through the principles and teachings of yoga. This book is dedicated to memorialize and celebrate the life of ShareLove.Fund's inaugural International Women's Day honoree, the late Susie Davomar. Please take a moment to celebrate her life as a caterer, businesswoman, and matriarch of her family through this loving eulogy by, I apologize, it says 10-year-old Melita Ofori, the historian of her family. Susie Davomar was born in Port-au-Prince, Haiti on October 7th, 1950. As a child, she was involved in all youth programs, including Girl Scouts, church choir, and school performances. Okay, so that's the background. Now the title. You better woman up and put some lipstick on. I just love that. She was the youngest of 5 siblings and was the apple of her father's eye. As the youngest, Susie was fiercely protective of her older sister, Marie. Susie was known to get into scrapes with anyone who dared to pick on her or her older sister. As the years went by, Susie grew into a beautiful young girl. It was not uncommon for all heads to turn when she walked into a room. Not only was she beautiful, but she had an eye for fashion and carried herself with a notable air of grace equal to royalty. Susie was also known for her direct approach to anything. There was never a time when you did not know where you stood with her, as she was not the type to mince words. At 24, Susie married and moved to Europe with her husband. As years went by, her husband passed away, leaving her widowed and a single mom. Susie now faced the challenge of balancing a business and raising 3 children, Ricardo, Pierre, and Meijin. She worked tirelessly to obtain certifications, and she even drove a New York City taxi. She also struggled to build her catering business to ensure that she could meet the needs of her children. All of her children fondly remembered their home was filled frequently with the smell of homemade cake. Each holiday, she would bake her famous pineapple upside-down cake for her friends and family as gifts. When teased by her children for always giving cake as gifts, she would reply, and this makes me cry every time I read it, but it's like so touching. She would reply, "When that's all you have, that's all you can give." Susie never failed to push forward with a beautiful, bright smile through all of her ups and downs. while going through life's trials and tribulations, regardless of what difficulties she might have been having, one would assume she lived in a castle and sat on a throne. Susie approached every endeavor passionately, including the upbringing of her children. If she ever saw Meijin looking unhappy, Susie would immediately tell her daughter, and here's our title, "You better woman up and put some lipstick on." Even though each child was handled differently, the one constant teaching was about being strong. Her motto for life was, quote, "You have to be strong." She fiercely instilled that thinking into each child. Susie battled Alzheimer's for almost 14 years, which was double the doctor's expectation of 7 years. In 2011, Susie's first granddaughter, Melita, was born. Melita was Susie's pride and joy. As Susie's condition declined, Melita remained the only person who could respond to her by speaking in French. I have chills as Melita is writing this as the family historian. It's just unbelievable. I'm so proud of her. Today, we remember Susie for the values instilled in us as a protective sister, a passionate mother, a loving granddaughter, and most of all, an extraordinary woman of strength. May we continue to build from that strength and honor her legacy. I'm just going to ask for a moment of silence while we all either honor Susie, who I think deserves it, or honor a loved one, or honor yourself. But let's just take a moment in silence in recognition of this powerful reading done by family historian Melita. She wrote it at 10 years old. God bless her, and God bless her grandma, her late grandma Susie. you are sitting in an asymmetrical position like I am, I invite you to switch and stretch the other side so that you get an equal stretch on your body. An advantage of yoga is that we can be symmetrical. And we're drawing inward for a moment of silent reflection. We just read a beautiful eulogy written by a 10-year-old. It's a sample of what children are capable of and how we can use even traditionally sad circumstances or painful circumstances. We can actually turn them into empowerment circumstances and an opportunity for education with power of the pen by encouraging young ones to write and even publish in our book series on Amazon their words and sentiments about lost loved ones. So this is an opportunity to either reflect on that as a yoga teacher, children's specialty yoga teacher in training, or perhaps using this time to reflect on your own personal grief or loss of a loved one, and thinking about if you can draw inward and turn that pain into, for lack of a better word, profit. How can you be prolific about it? How can you be prosperous? With a deep inhale, sweep your arms up and around. You can bring them back through prayer position, loosening your neck from side to side, doing some neck locks, bringing your awareness to the present moment with some shoulder rotations backwards and forwards. So how do you feel? It's nice to have a mindfulness moment in the crazy day, especially when working with kids. It is a pleasure to have some peace and quiet. So I'm going to take a moment to hydrate, and I encourage you to do so too. In traditional yoga, we are not supposed to drink while we are in class. However, the reality is that everyone is so busy, go, 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 that we don't really have time to drink the adequate water that we need to drink every day. So I always encourage my students to, at the very least, use this hour and a half together to hydrate. If there's thoughts that you want to record through journaling, you can also use this time we have together for journaling. Try to multitask, because there's only so many hours in the day. I know everybody really talks about being present, but everybody is coming out at you with their trade as if it is the most important thing in your life. And it's not. You are the most important thing in your life, and you'll pick and choose what to focus on. Sometimes earning a degree is what we need to do to get where we want. I don't really want to call it a necessary evil, because I'd like to think of it as all good stuff, but sometimes it is a necessary evil if your place of business just requires the certification or so forth. So try to really maximize your time, because at the end of the day, what is actually more important than all the things that people are trying to sell you, what is the most important is sleep. And so if you can pack in a few things at the same time, then that increases your chances that you will be able to carve out really, really great sleep. So please hydrate if that feels good to you. And then we'll continue to do some mat work and really stretch out our back with a little yoga Pilates fusion. And we'll use that straight back to help us stand even taller when we stand up for our pose of the week, our peak pose of the week, mountain pose. There's a lot more to mountain than meets the eye. So anyway, we'll do sort of a reclined mountain savasana for now. So please lay down on your back and lift one arm up, and the same arm that you're reaching out, reach that leg a little further to the wall, and the other arm. And you're just really trying to elongate, as if someone is pulling your whole right side, your right foot, they're pulling it in opposite direction from your right wrist. And then on the other side, someone is pulling your left ankle in the opposite direction of your left wrist. And we'll just stretch this out a little bit, just feeling long and strong. So sometimes when we're standing up, we have a tendency to slouch. And it's a lot harder to slouch when you're laying on your back, because you'd actually have to engage your core to slouch. So a way to remind us how not to slouch is to lay on the ground, where it's just so much easier to be straight. Inhale and exhale your arms to cactus arms. This is a chest opener. As you are in this chest opener, still scooch out one foot and then the other. We're pedaling out our feet, warming up our lower back, and really thinking about being long and strong in mountain. Inhale your knees into chest and cross your legs. Grab a hold of opposite ankles, and we're going to stretch the hip. Why are we doing this? We're doing this because It stretches out the lower back, and when you are standing in mountain pose, it helps take out a little bit of the curve in the spine, and that helps our mountain pose be even longer and stronger. So this is an opportunity. Since when do you have a whole class where you can just prepare for a pose that most people think is relatively simple, mountain pose? But this is amazing that we get to create the space to prepare our back, prepare our spine, to really lengthen and stand erect in mountain pose. Let us just relax in this. You should feel the hip stretch on one side. And now come across on the other side and stretch the calf muscle on the other side. I'll be right back. So we're stretching the glute. I think I said calf, but I meant glute. We're stretching the glute on the other side. This is helping us lengthen the bones that connect, the muscles that connect our hips and lower back to help us have a longer spine when We're standing in mountain pose ultimately. Trying to keep connection between the sacrum and the mat, and really just trying to imagine each vertebrae connecting to the mat for a very long spine. Inhale, shoot the soles of the feet to the ceiling. Bring the arms up, connecting the shoulders with the mat. Dead bug. Bend your knees, grab hold of your feet. Slowly straighten them to your comfort level. Trying to keep your sacrum on the mat. So going like this, you're lifting up. So trying to keep your sacrum grounded on the mat, because our peak pose of the day is mountain pose, and we're trying to practice stretching out the spine so it can be long. So to keep your sacrum on the mat, you may want to bend your knees or keep one leg bent and stretch one hamstring at a time. I will cue you when to switch if you're doing like I am with one hamstring at a time. Bring both knees into your chest, give yourself a little hug, and massage out your back by engaging your abdominals and rolling side to side. When you're ready on the exhale, push the opposite leg up. You can keep one knee bent to work the hamstring on the other side. If both knees are bent, that's great too. But the idea is that you're exaggerating the bend on one knee to not stretch that hamstring, to get a deeper stretch in the opposite hamstring. The idea is that you're trying to maintain connection with the mat and your sacrum. So to the extent that touching your foot is causing you to lift up, that's not really what we're working on right now. We're working on fully connecting our spine to the mat so that when we are in standing Tadasana or mountain pose, we can really feel that long spine. So we're stretching the spine out by doing some mat work, and that way this is a little bit of a yoga Pilates fusion. We're using the mat to help us off the mat. As we say at ShareLove.Fund, strong on the mat, strong in life. So here we go. Now let's bring both legs up, and we'll see if wherever you were, if you feel that you can get a little deeper into this stretch now that we isolated each individual side. And by isolating each side, it's a way for us to correct some of the unevenness that we experience in our body by the way we maybe kneel to tie our children's shoelaces or pick things up. or play one-sided sports like tennis or golf. We can correct a lot of that asymmetry in our body through yoga. And we can do that by isolating a side and spending more time on it to correct the irregularities. Please give yourself a hug, lift your legs up, grab a hold behind your knees. You can grab a hold of opposite elbows if that feels good, or hands, whatever your comfort level is, and just rock side to side, massaging out the spine. Inhale, grab a hold of your feet. You can make loops with your hands. Put it around your big toes for a little happy baby. And again, rock side to side, massaging out your spine. For a happy baby, the soles of your feet are facing the ceiling and your knees are parted towards the outside of your rib cage, and you are attempting a right angle between your lower legs and upper legs. You can sweep your hands in and around. This way you use some elbow grease to really expand this area and give yourself a little more of a hip stretch. This greatly can massage out the spine and add length to the spine as you try to keep your sacrum connected to the mat while in this pose. It's tempting to come up in it, but the idea is that your sacrum will stay connected to the mat, and how high you lift your legs depends on how high you can do that while keeping the sacrum together. So when I go put my legs this far back, that's too far because my sacrum is lifted. So you can start with your toes pointed to the back wall or flexed and see how far you can go, keeping your tailbone on the mat. Let us enjoy this stretch for a little bit. This will be our final stretch before we do our big da-da-da-da Tadasana mountain pose, but this is wonderful to really stretch out our lower back, try to decrease that curve in our spine, and so we can be long and strong in our mountain pose. roll out your ankles a little bit because holding a position for too long can cause injury. So let's roll our ankles inward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll go to 15, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and we'll roll our ankles outward. 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Bringing the soles of the feet together and the knees together. Gently roll to one side and push your way up. We'll come to Sukhasana, seated position. We learned Sukhasana in week 3. So this is a little review. From Sukhasana, we'll come to table and do cat-cow. We learned cat-cow in week 4. So that's a little review, but it also goes to show why we have the order of the poses, because it is easy to move from Sukhasana to cat-cow. So not only are we teaching the poses, but by ordering the poses in the specific weeks, we're also helping you naturally think about sequencing in a way that you don't really have to remember. Through kinetic learning, it kind of just becomes instinctual. So you'll think of Sukhasana, easy seat, to cat-cow without having to memorize. It's just instinctual. So this is week 4. Week 5, we can come up to mountain pose. So this is our pose of the week. So let's talk about it. So mountain pose, your feet are hip width apart. Palms face forward. Chin, eyes level, soft gaze. You can think of your feet as hands. I always like to think of it as monkey hands holding onto the ground. So you can actually squeeze the ground as if your toes are fingers. Why is this important? Well, later when we come to balancing poses and so forth, when your feet are grounded, it's just going to make everything else easier. So it all starts with a good mountain pose. This is your base, your foundation. And when mountain pose is strong, then the balancing poses come together. We spent a lot of time on our back with the yoga, Pilates, infusion. If your back is all wonky, it's going to throw your balance off. So a nice, long, straight spine really helps in the balancing poses. So the feet hip width apart, facing straight. Palms facing forward. This helps your shoulders come back. Chin up. Belly firm. You can think of it as you're zipping up those 80s tight jeans. Zip it up. Engage the glutes. Imagine your thighs, you're peeling them out. So squeeze the glutes in, but peel the thighs out. Remember to breathe. So now let's just stand in mountain pose breathing, but fully engage. Fully engage as if it were a full body exercise. Toes squeezing the mat, thighs rolling out, glutes engaged, shoulders back, but not tension. Pull your shoulders up, let them drop down to be cognizant that you're not holding tension in your shoulders. Relax your jaw. You can gently massage your forehead to make sure you're not holding tension in your forehead. So be engaged without being rigid. Yoga is about opposites. We'll stay contemplating that in mountain pose for a bit and really drink up the deliciousness of having this moment in time to concentrate on nothing but mountain pose. As your mind wanders, bring your attention back to the breath. Mountain pose, Tadasana. Week 5, peak pose of the week. When you come back, wiggle your toes and feet will come back to awareness. Now bring your hands in prayer position, slowly roll down to a squat. A squat is a wonderful pose. If this hurts your knees, then don't do it, please modify. Sharpshooting pain is never good. What one instructor once told me is sometimes when you feel a sensation equally on both sides of the body, then generally that can be a stretch or you're working your muscles. But when you feel a strong sensation on just one side of your body, then maybe you're pulling something and you should just stop. From here, I invite you to take a comfortable seated position. Slowly roll yourself down vertebrae by vertebrae, and we will begin our Savasana. So I will step away to prepare a few things while you're in Savasana. It will be a wonderful 30-minute Savasana for you to relax and regroup. I will come back in 30 minutes with a clap of my hands to bring you back to awareness, and then we will conclude the class from there. Enjoy. Thank you so much for your time today. Wiggle your toes, your fingers, gently roll to one side. Take your time coming up to comfortable seated position. Namaste.